All right, we're going to go ahead and move to the NFC South. We're going to start off with the Atlanta Falcons. They made a big splash in free agency, starting off with Jesse Bates, massive $84 million contract. He's a solid corner or solid safety. Definitely going to help that lackluster secondary. AJ Turtle cannot guard everybody by himself. They also brought in defensive tackle David Onyemata. Interior pass rush and pass rush in general was a big weakness on that Falcons roster. Onyemata was definitely going to help out there in the middle. They also signed in linebacker Caden Ellis and Tay Davis. Don't know a whole lot about them, but I think one of their best signings and sneaky guy is Taylor Heineke. Desmond Ridder is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's all there just yet, but Heineke can play. I mean, he may not be your Super Bowl winning caliber quarterback, but I mean, he can win you games. And they also added some offensive weapons in Jonnu Smith to back up Kyle Pitts, as well as bringing in wide receiver Matt Collins after his breakout year with the Raiders. The Falcons were able to re-sign two of their key offensive linemen in Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. Massive contract, but they are well deserving of them. Definitely need a great offensive line, and they're two of the best guys out there. They also re-signed edge Lorenzo Carter from Georgia, as well as their punter Braden Pena and their fullback Keith Smith. The only notable loss that they had was not being able to re-sign Marcus Mariota, but I think Taylor Heineke is an upgrade in that position, and they may be looking forward to drafting a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Their grade is going to be an A. Love what they did with this offseason. I'd love to see them if they trade for or somehow acquire Lamar Jackson. Moving on to the Carolina Panthers, they had a rather weird free agency in my opinion. After trading up to move into the number 1 overall pick to probably draft a quarterback, their future franchise guy. They did have to trade some assets, including DJ Moore being their biggest piece that they lost in this free agency. Some of their key additions was running back Miles Sanders to replace the lost Devontae Foreman, safety Von Bell coming off a career season with the Bengals with his 4 picks. They also signed veteran quarterback Andy Dalton. Should be a good mentor for any or their projected number 1 overall pick. A couple more great additions is tight end Hayden Hurst, as well as wide receiver Adam Thielen, and D tackle Shai Tootle. Their best only notable free agent re-signing from their previous roster was center Bradley Bozeman. Now, with all those new additions, they did lose a lot of pieces. Like I mentioned before, TJ Moore, Devontae Foreman, center Pat Elflein, linebacker Damian Wilson, Sam Darnold, and quarterback PJ Washington were some of the notable losses. Overall, we're just going to give them a B. They lost a lot, but they also gained a lot of more veteran guys, which should help out the younger roster that they have on defense. All right, moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A post-Tom Brady world, they're going to have to rebuild their franchise. Some of their key additions was bringing in Baker Mayfield, which is kind of surprising, as well as running back Chase Edmonds. On top of that, they did bring back a couple key free agents on their previous roster, one being Jamel Dean, cornerback, as well as linebacker Levante David. However, their list of losses outweigh their additions. Quarterback Tom Brady due to retirement, Leonard Fournette they cut, Donovan Smith, who I know a lot of Bucs fans don't really like anyway, so that was probably a W for them. They also weren't able to re-sign Julio Jones. He's getting up there in age. Safety Mike Edwards and Logan Ryan, so they're going to have 2 safeties they got to replace, as well as Akeem Hicks, tight end Cameron Brate, and cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting. Overall, we're going to give them a C+. All right, and last but not least, the New Orleans Saints started off nice and hot by signing quarterback Derek Carr from the Raiders after his release. I think Derek Carr is definitely a big upgrade from Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton, so it's a good move. I definitely like that, and nice change of scenery for Carr there. Also previously mentioned, they did sign Jamal Williams. He's going to be a great 1-2 punch with Alvin Kamara, as well as signing defensive tackle Colin Saunders previously with the Kansas City Chiefs. Very underrated signing. This guy was a stud. I watched him a lot with those Chiefs. Saints were also very good in re-signing some players. First off, they restructured Michael Thomas's deal to free up a lot of cap space because he was getting way overpaid for the productivity he was providing, as well as re-signing Juwan Taylor, tight end. Big season last year. Was very productive touchdown-wise. They also were able to re-sign edge Tanoa Kapasan, as well as safety T.J. Gary and quarterback Jameis Winston. Probably going to be the backup to Derek Carr. In some of the Saints' losses, they did lose Marcus Davenport, David Onyemata, Andy Dalton, Caden Ellis, Marcus Callaway, and Deontay Hardy. They got a lot of shoes to fill. Definitely have a lot of holes, but that's what the draft's for. And the overall grade with bringing in Derek Carr and restructuring Michael Thomas, as well as they were able to maintain most of their solid value guys, I think they give an A-. And that's what we go ahead and think about the NFC South free agency. Let us know what you think below.